Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, writers. I hope everybody is doing well. I am just swinging in with some writerly advice today because this is something that has come up a couple of times um, in my groups and through the writers that I'm working with, and I just wanted to pass it along to you. If you're struggling with getting um, you're you have no problem creating the story up here, but you're having trouble getting it onto the page or onto the screen. One thing that really works well is to go at your idea or whatever image is in your head without any kind of expectation as far as trying to put it into story form. I think a lot of times when we start stifling ourselves at the right out of the gate because we think we're supposed to actually write in story form immediately. And oftentimes that's not necessarily the case. And it obviously depends on your own processes and what works for you. But if this is something that you've been struggling with, it could be that you are trying too hard. So what I suggest, take 15 minutes and, set it aside and make sure that it's 15 minutes that you won't be interrupted. So if I know right now we're inside our houses and we're probably, sharing space with other people, and maybe finding space to yourself isn't easy. But I think that we can all agree that this is now more than ever is a great time to learn how to set boundaries. So find space, 15 minutes to yourself, make sure that nobody interrupts you, and definitely turn your phone off, turn off social media, all of that jazz. If you need some music, great, but just keep your space in the 15 minutes distraction free. And just take your if it's a notebook or you're going to open a document on your laptop, whatever it works best, okay? And simply write. Whatever you write will open a path to your story anyway. And it may not be immediate. It may take a few of these 15-minute sessions. But over time, and usually as long as we're devoted to it and committed to it, dedicated to it, it'll be within a short period of time, you will start seeing a story emerge on its own. And if you commit yourself to those 15 minutes without expectation, then it'll be much easier to find the story that's trying to come through. Now, one thing I will say that, if you find that, even just running some words together that don't really have a lot of meaning to them, or that are free of expectation, doesn't really propel you forward, that you tend to just kind of write the same way and doesn't seem to be gathering any momentum, then at that point, what I would suggest is bring in a character, because a character is what is always, should always be. I know I don't like to use the word should, but in this instance, I'm going to. Should be the agent of their own story. In other words, they're the ones who are supposed to be making the decisions and making the choices that create events so that they're committing to their mission, their journey, their quest. You don't want things happening to them and having them be victims, right? You want them to be making choices that create more problems for themselves. So if you're at a point where just writing to write isn't getting you anywhere, you're not getting the momentum you need, then get a character in there and put that character into a scene. But here's the key. You need to make sure that this scene is not him just sitting and thinking about all the problems that are going on in his life. You need to make sure that he is involved in an event, some kind of action that carries a consequence. Okay? So whatever that event might be, whatever the action might be, it could be a confrontation with a friend. It could be um, a decision that he makes where he has to go somewhere that he's actually been avoiding. It could be anything, as long as there is a consequence to the choice that he is making, or she, that you're here. Scene won't go anywhere. It'll be flat and it'll be meaningless and there won't be any reason for it. And I mean, that's a whole other video on its own. But the point of doing it in this context where we're, real, if you're struggling with getting a story going or finding momentum with an idea that you have, getting a character into a scene, having her make a choice or make a decision that carries a consequence will automatically bring in conflict and tension and move your character forward. And there's the momentum that you might be looking for. So give that a try. And like I said, this isn't going to be an overnight solution, especially if you've been struggling for a while, or if you're brand new to this, to being a writer. So, don't give up too early. Allow yourself the time to develop this, because it is a skill. All right. Getting to know your characters and getting to know your story is a skill. And in that skill, will actually change from project to project, because every story, every character demands something different from you as the author, um, which is why I advocate writing every day. You don't have to work on the project in question every day. I know I get a lot of flack about that, but it's when I say write every day, it's not about writing and working on the project in question at all. It means uh, writing something and honoring your creativity every single day is super important to developing it and growing it, um, and turning it into a part of your life, so that every day you want to write, that you're not feeling like you have to force yourself to get to the page. And so try that. Let me know how it goes. Give yourself a week, a couple of weeks. Come back. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. And if this advice sounds like something you could get on board with, then you might really enjoy the Facebook training that I'm holding starting tomorrow, Wednesday, March 25th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll be here doing a live video Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week at 9 o'clock each time. 9 a.m. Eastern, and we'll be talking about structure. And the title of my training is Get Your Acts Together. So if 3-act structure is something that you'd love to learn more about, wrap your mind around it a little bit more, or even to just ask some questions to help you understand or get clearer on it, then definitely come by and hang out for the training. I'd love to see you. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions at all about today's little bit of advice, or tomorrow, the training that I'm holding later this week, drop a comment below. I will be circling back and I'll address anything that you guys leave. All right. So I hope you have a writerly day. Take care.